10 UK towns stuck in the past. If you've ever wandered through cobbled streets that whisper stories of kings, craftsmen and candlelight, you'll know the feeling. That quiet sense that time has slowed. Across Britain, some towns have managed to escape the rush of modern life entirely. In these places, stone walls, crooked lanes and medieval marketplaces still set the rhythm. From seaside enclaves to hilltop fortresses, 10 UK towns stuck in the past invites you on a journey through the country's living history, timeless, charming and wonderfully unchanged. 10. Skipton, North Yorkshire. Perched at the gateway to the Yorkshire Dales, Skipton is the kind of place where you can still hear the echo of hoofbeats along the cobbles. Its name means sheep town, and its roots stretch back to the Domesday Book of 1086. Skipton Castle, one of the best preserved medieval castles in England, still dominates the skyline, guarding narrow lanes lined with centuries-old stone cottages. The bustling market has traded since medieval times, and though it now sells handmade soap beside farmhouse cheese, it retains the energy of old commerce. The Leeds-Liverpool Canal slides quietly through town, and when the fog lifts over the Dales, Skipton feels caught between two centuries. Half industrial heritage, half medieval spirit. It's easy to see why it's considered one of Britain's most historic market towns. 9. Rye, East Sussex. Rye looks like it was lifted from a fairy tale illustration. All crooked beams, steep lanes and weather-worn bricks. Once a bustling Kinquay port, Rye thrived on trade and shipbuilding until the sea receded, leaving it marooned inland. Yet that isolation preserved its beauty. Mermaid Street, with its ancient cobbles and slanting timber-framed houses, could easily be mistaken for a film set. The Mermaid Inn still welcomes visitors, as it has since the 1400s. Creaky staircases, low ceilings, and the lingering scent of oak smoke. Walk to St Mary's Church Tower for a view of red-tiled rooftops and winding lanes, and you'll feel centuries watching you. Rye is a treasure among old English towns, a real-life time capsule on the Sussex coast. 8. Tenby, Pembrokeshire, Wales. Behind Tenby's pastel-coloured seafront hides a medieval soul. Enclosed by 13th century stone walls and guarded by a castle headland, this Welsh town has been charming travellers for hundreds of years. The narrow lanes of Tudor Square, the cliff-top church of St Mary's, and the tiny harbour beach feel unchanged since the Victorian era, when seaside holidays first became fashionable. Step beyond the shops, and you'll still see fishermen mending nets on the quay, a quiet continuity of coastal life. Tenby's secret is balance, modern enough to host tourists, old enough to carry history in every wall. When gulls cry above the fort and the tide curls beneath the town's medieval walls, you'll understand why it belongs on any list of 10 UK towns stuck in the past. 7. Whitby, North Yorkshire. Whitby is steeped in salt air and legend. Its steep steps climb to Whitby Abbey, the haunting ruin that inspired Bram Stoker's Dracula. The town's narrow streets and red-roofed cottages hug the harbour where Captain Cook once set sail. Fishing boats still bring in their catch each morning, and the scent of vinegar from seaside chippies mixes with the cries of gulls. Proof that life hasn't changed much in decades. The swing bridge still divides old Whitby from the newer side, but the heart of the town remains stubbornly old-fashioned. Between jetstone jewellery shops and smokehouses selling kippers, Whitby keeps its maritime heritage alive. It's not just one of the most beautiful old towns in England, it's a place where time still sways with the tide. 6. Rochester, Kent. Overlooking the River Medway, Rochester is a town built on story and stone. Its Norman castle stands beside one of the oldest cathedrals in England, while cobbled High Street was immortalised by Charles Dickens, who lived nearby. Walk its lanes and you'll pass Tudor-fronted shops, Georgian townhouses and quirky bookstores that seem allergic to time. Each summer, Dickensian costume parades fill the streets, giving the whole place a theatrical charm. Despite modern development across Kent, Rochester has resisted change. The cathedral's bells still toll across the Medway, and from the castle ramparts you can watch the sunset turn the river bronze, a view scarcely altered in 1,000 years. 5. Buxton, Derbyshire. Buxton's elegance belongs to the Georgian era, when visitors came seeking the healing waters of its thermal springs. The graceful crescent, built in the 18th century, mirrors Bath's grand architecture and remains a centrepiece of British spa heritage. Even today, you can stroll past the Opera House, the Pavilion Gardens, and the old thermal baths, all still in use. The architecture gleams with Cotswold-like stone and wrought iron balconies, while the moorlands that ring the town stay as wild as they were centuries ago. At night, when lamplight falls on the crescent's arched windows, Buxton seems to pause in the 18th century. For travellers seeking time travel without technology, this Derbyshire gem is the real thing. 4. Berkhamsted, Hertfordshire. A short journey from London lies Berkhamsted, a town that feels far older than its postcodes suggest. William the Conqueror received the English crown here in 1066, and the ruins of his castle still loom over the Grand Union Canal. Its high street follows a Roman route, and half-timbered houses nestle between Georgian facades and Victorian shop fronts. Despite its commuter belt location, Berkhamsted retains the feel of a medieval market hub. Local pubs still bear names from the Crusader era, and the town's weekly market dates back to 1215. The blend of ancient streets and quiet modernity shows how some British towns evolve without ever letting go of their past, a balance that defines the best of 10 UK towns stuck in the past. 3. Malmesbury, Wiltshire. England's oldest borough wears its history like a badge. Perched on a hill above the River Avon, Malmesbury has been continuously inhabited for over 1,000 years. The 11th century abbey remains the town's heart, its weathered stone tower visible for miles. Walk its tight streets and you'll find carved lintels, sloping roofs, and small shops that still close for lunch. Old traditions alive in the 21st century. King Athelstan, England's first king, was buried here, and local legends claim flying monks once leapt from the abbey roof experimenting with primitive flight. Malmesbury is a patchwork of Saxon walls and Cotswold stone, a town that never forgot its roots while the world moved on. 2. Stamford, Lincolnshire. Often called the finest stone town in England, Stamford looks as if it hasn't aged since the 18th century. With over 600 listed buildings, its streets have appeared in period dramas from Pride and Prejudice to Middlemarch. The Industrial Revolution largely skipped Stamford, so its skyline remains unchanged. Church spires, timber frames, and stone-arched bridges over the River Welland. The market still fills Broad Street each Friday, echoing centuries of trade. For visitors, the magic is in the details: hand-painted signs, wooden shop fronts, and door knockers polished by time. Among Britain's historic towns, Stamford stands as a masterpiece, unchanged because it never needed to be otherwise. 1. Ludlow, Shropshire. Crowned as our number 1 among 10 UK towns stuck in the past, Ludlow is a living museum of medieval England. Its castle, built by the Normans in the 11th century, still presides over the town and the River Teme. Half-timbered houses lean into the streets, and the market square buzzes beneath the shadow of St. Lawrence's Church. With almost 500 listed buildings, Ludlow feels as if modern life simply paused at its gates. Yet it's no museum piece. Its food scene thrives with local produce and artisan craft, a perfect marriage of heritage and heart. When the sun sets over the castle and bells chime across Shropshire's rolling hills, you sense why Ludlow is the definition of a town stuck beautifully in the past. Across Britain, history isn't locked in museums. It lives in its towns. From Ludlow's stone walls to Rye's cobbled streets, these 10 UK towns stuck in the past remind us that time doesn't always erase beauty. Sometimes it preserves it. Walk their lanes, listen to their stories, and you'll find Britain at its most authentic. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe and don't forget to turn on the notification bell.